The elevator doors close. You are alone. 12 seconds until the next floor. You reach for your phone. You didn't decide to do that. You didn't think, I'm bored, I should check something. Your hand moved before the thought arrived. That's the thing nobody talks about. It isn't the phone that's the problem. It's the 12 seconds. The 12 seconds felt like something you needed to escape. Think about the last time you sat in a waiting room and just sat. No podcast. No scrolling. No pretending to text someone. Just you, a chair, and silence. Can you remember the last time that happened? Most people can't. And here's the question that should unsettle you. That discomfort, that low-level pull towards something, anything, where did it come from? You were not born reaching for a screen. Something changed. And the answer reaches back much further than smartphones, much further than television, much further than any technology that has ever existed. For most of human history, silence was not the enemy. It was the default. In 1966, anthropologist Marshall Salins spent years studying the Kung people of the Kalahari Desert, a group still living close to the original human lifestyle. Hunter-gatherers. No agriculture. No permanent settlements. What he found dismantled a central assumption of modern life. They worked approximately 15 to 20 hours per week, not per day, per week. The rest of the time they rested. They talked. They sat. They did nothing in particular. Salins called them the original affluent society. Not because they had possessions, because they had time. More unstructured time than most modern humans experience in a year. And here is the part that matters. They were not miserable in that silence. They were not anxiously searching for the next thing. They sat with it, moved through it, let it be. Your ancestors had something you have quietly lost the ability to do. They could be alone with themselves. So what changed? In 2014, researchers at the University of Virginia ran a study that produced one of the most uncomfortable findings in modern psychology. They asked participants to sit alone in a room with nothing. No phone, no book, no music. Just their thoughts. For 15 minutes, then they offered an alternative. A button on the table. Press it and you receive a mild electric shock. 2/3 of men chose the shock. 1/4 of women chose the shock. They preferred physical pain over 15 minutes of silence. Ride that again slowly. People chose to hurt themselves rather than sit alone with their own minds. The researchers did not conclude that people were weak or broken. They concluded that the human brain, in its current state, experiences silence as a threat, not metaphorically, not dramatically, as an actual aversive signal. The same neural pathways that process physical pain light up when the modern brain is forced into silence with no external input. But here is what that study does not tell you. It only tells you what the brain does now. It says nothing about what the brain was designed to do. And those two things are not the same. 40,000 years ago, somewhere in what is now southern Germany, a person sat down with a bird bone. They had no tools made of metal, no instruction, no tradition of music to draw from. They carved 5 holes into the bone with a stone. Then they played it. That flute, the oldest musical instrument ever found, was not made because someone had to make it. It was made because someone had a free afternoon and a wandering mind and nothing else demanding their attention. 75,000 years ago in South Africa, someone drilled holes through small shells and coated them in red pigment. Not food, not weapons, not shelter, jewelry, personal decoration. The oldest known art object in human history. Born from an idle afternoon in a cave, nobody told them to create. Nobody rewarded them for it. Their minds, left alone in silence, produced something that had never existed before. This is what the human brain does when you leave it alone. It builds. And you have not left yours alone in a very long time. There is a network inside your brain that neuroscientists did not know existed until 2001. They call it the default mode network. It activates when you are doing nothing, not when you are relaxing, not when you are resting with music on or half watching something. When you are genuinely idle, genuinely unstimulated, this network is responsible for some of the most distinctly human things your brain does. Creativity. The ability to imagine things that don't exist yet. Empathy. The ability to model another person's inner experience. Self-reflection. The ability to examine your own thoughts and behavior from the outside. Long-term planning. The ability to construct a future version of yourself and move toward it. These are not minor functions. These are the things that separate human cognition from every other form of cognition on the planet. And every single one of them requires silence to activate. The default mode network does not turn on during stimulation. It turns on in the gaps. The 12 seconds in the elevator. The waiting room. The moment before sleep when the room is dark and quiet. Every time you fill those gaps, every single time, you are interrupting the deepest cognitive work your brain knows how to do. Not occasionally. Every time. Now here is the part that should stay with you. The ancient human sitting by the fire in silence was not doing nothing. Their default mode network was running at full capacity, processing the day, constructing tomorrow, imagining threats that hadn't arrived yet, modeling the people around them, asking questions that had no answers. Some of those questions became the first stories ever told. Some became the first rituals. Some became the foundations of every religion, every philosophy, every science that followed. All of it came from people who had not yet learned to be afraid of their own silence. And you descended from every single one of them. That capacity is not gone. It is suppressed. There is a version of you that most people around you have never met. You have probably not met them recently either. This version thinks differently. Slower, deeper, less reactive. This version makes connections between things that seem unrelated. Sits with a problem until something unexpected surfaces. Feels things more completely. Not more dramatically, but more fully. Has opinions that are actually theirs. Not assembled from content consumed that morning. This version of you does not appear during stimulation. They never have. They appear in the gaps. The uncomfortable 12 seconds. The waiting room you want to escape. The dark bedroom before sleep where you reach for the phone and sometimes, occasionally, put it back down. That pull you feel towards silence, the one you spend most of your day overriding, is not weakness. It is not laziness. It is the oldest cognitive system in the human brain, asking for the conditions it needs to work. The person in the cave with the bird bone did not create something eternal because they were more talented than you. They created it because they had not yet learned to run from the silence that made it possible. You still have that silence available to you. You just keep filling it before it can become anything. The 12 seconds in the elevator. The empty waiting room chair. The dark room before sleep. Those are not problems to solve. They are invitations. And somewhere inside them, if you stop reaching long enough, is a version of you that has been waiting very patiently for you to show up.